How's it going, guys? My name is Nick.
And I'm Allie.
We work on the talent team over here at KEYENCE, so appreciate everyone taking the time to watch this video. Main purpose of this is just to give you guys a better understanding of the application engineer position, answer any questions you have, and then at the end we'll also touch on the next steps.
Yeah, so to start out, we'll just kind of give you a brief overview of KEYENCE itself. So we are a Japanese company. We're based out of Osaka, Japan, and we were founded in 1974. We are in 46 countries worldwide, and we have over 40 sales offices across the United States. As far as kind of what we do, what our products are, we are a global technology sales company, so we are in hardware as well as software. We basically work in every industry inside the United States, so pretty much anyone that can make anything we work with. So we have products from sensors to laser markers to microscopes, all in kind of that manufacturing as well as research and design space.
So typical week on the job, once you're done with training, there's going to be two different kinds of days that you're going to have. So there's office days and there's also days out in the field. Typical week, it's probably 3 or 4 days out in the field and then 1 or 2 office days. So starting with those field days, big part of this role is it's a lot of reactive work. So kind of the main role we hire for here at KEYENCE are technical sales reps. They're going out and selling the equipment. Application engineers, again, are more focused on that reactive work. So troubleshooting, programming, doing tests for customers, turning wrenches, things of that nature. And then office days, you're really just collaborating with salespeople, running test reports, reaching out to customers, making sure everything's up and running properly. So she mentioned all those different product divisions that we have at KEYENCE. We actually have 14 in total, but only 4 different divisions require an application engineer. So your actual job title might vary or change depending on which division you're with. So our first division, it's called Machine Vision Technology. If you're an application engineer for that division, your actual title is going to be a vision consultant engineer. If you're with our division called PCT, Printing and Coding Technology, your title is going to be integration support engineer. And then if you're with our high precision measurement or auto identification division, your title is going to be application engineer.
Yeah, so what training looks like as an application engineer, you actually will be going through training with the sales line that you're going to be representing also. So you'll be in the same classroom with those peers. Basically, you can probably expect to be in Chicago from anywhere from 8 to 9 weeks, and all expenses are paid for during that time. So flights, hotel, rental car, all of that is going to be covered by KEYENCE. But basically what you're going to be doing during that time is you'll be based out of a classroom here at our headquarters. So it's going to be really hands-on training with that technology, truly making you an expert in that product or products. So we really want to get to know the products. You're going to be taking tests, you're going to have to do demos, do some support calls, kind of demos also with those products inside the classroom. And then also during that time you'll get some opportunity to go shadow. So it might be your future mentor, it might be some other application engineers or vision control engineers, whatever the case might be for you, but really get that experience on the road, kind of seeing what those calls are going to look like. And then once those 8 to 9 weeks end, you'll go back to that office location that you were hired on for, and then start your on-the-job training. So you'll start going on your own calls with someone shadowing you, kind of getting that experience before you're more so thrown to the wolves, I guess you could say.
All right, so when it comes to company culture, there's a few things I like to mention. The first is that it's a pretty collaborative and team-oriented environment. So the actual office space at KEYENCE offices are very open and flat, and they're designed that way on purpose. So no one sits in like big cubicles or dividers. It really promotes collaboration and teamwork. You're all going to be covering different products, different customers, you're going to have different territories, so it's going to be really beneficial if you can go out to your territory, take all the information, bring it back, and then bounce ideas off of each other. Outside of that, one thing I like to mention too is that it's a pretty competitive environment. So again, we're a Japanese company, there's lots of metrics and KPIs that you're going to be tracked on. So it's not competition in a malicious way. You're not going to be fighting with a KEYENCE employee over the business of a customer. It's more so just like office competitions, leaderboards, again, several metrics and KPIs that you're going to be tracked on. Outside of that, I think it's a fun place to work. There's lots of things going on outside of the office that you can get to know your team and coworkers better. So there's like fantasy football leagues. I know there's some book clubs, rec softball leagues, soccer leagues, things of that nature.
Yep, so to be completely transparent, territories as an application engineer are quite large. So in this job, you will be supporting about 3 to 4 different sales reps and their territories. So you could reasonably expect to be traveling quite a bit in this position, going to all different parts of that territory, to different customers. So it is going to be quite a bit of time driving in your vehicle, and also it might definitely have some hotel stays depending on where your office location is and what that territory actually looks like. One good thing about this, though, is that we do provide different mileage reimbursements and benefits when it comes to that travel. So, for example, driving, we do provide the mileage reimbursement at whatever the IRS sets that maximum rate at. So currently it's 70 cents per mile. You'll just submit that odometer reading for that business travel, and then we'll pay that out to you. So it's meant to be towards gas, but also wear and tear on your vehicle. Also, if you are in the scenario where you're staying in a hotel pretty often, we do pay for that for you. So we'll have you pay out front, and then we'll provide that reimbursement for that as well. And then if you are in a larger territory, maybe you're flying every once in a while, we do also cover the costs of those flights. You will actually get that covered by KEYENCE directly billed, so you don't have to pay for that. And then also, any nights that you're staying overnight, we do provide subsistence too. So currently right now it's at $68 a night, and then $34 for that day you do return, and that's paid out regardless of whether you use that money or not. Yeah, so one great thing about KEYENCE is that we are 100% promote from within. So what that means is that obviously we don't hire people from the outside to become managers, directors, or things like that, but also it means that everyone that we do have working for you as a manager has been in your shoes before. So they're going to be really great resources for you to go to when you are looking at promotion, getting those resources from, asking those questions to learn what you need to do to get promoted. So being 100% promote from within, we have a pretty clear growth structure as well. So everyone will start out in that entry-level role. The application engineer level 1 title is kind of what we call that generally. And then as you transition from that kind of on-the-job training portion of your career, you'll transition into an application engineer level 2. From that point, you also have level 3, might start looking at mentees, things like that, and then also going towards our management program. So we actually train you on how to be a manager, and at that point in time, you can choose if you want to be a people manager or a project manager. Probably pretty self-explanatory. People manager is going to be managing a team of application engineers, and then our project managers are going to fluctuate on different big projects that are kind of being worked on inside the application engineer team and things like that. We actually do train you on how to be a manager, have you take some classes and things like that through our management development program that you have to graduate from. And then from there, really sky's the limit. There's different director roles. Even our COO started out in that entry-level title, so everyone works to get those promotions. And one great thing about this is that you also can be promoted very quickly at KEYENCE. So we do have formal evaluations every 6 months. So every 6 months you'll be up for promotion. Have a sit-down conversation with your manager or director about how you went over that half, and you'll be eligible for promotion. And even at that time, if you don't necessarily get that title change, you still might get a bump to your base salary and pay.
So when it comes to pay, there's 2 different ways you get paid in this role. You're going to have a base salary, and then there's also quarterly bonus checks. So starting with that base pay, it really depends on the cost of labor, or whatever office you're at. That range is going to be anywhere between $55,000 up to $81,000. Base pay is guaranteed every 2 weeks, no matter how you're doing. And then on top of that, you also receive quarterly bonus checks. So the bonus checks are more dependent on both your individual performance in the role and then also the company's overall performance, almost like a profit sharing type deal. The most accurate estimate I can give you for the bonus checks is just whatever last year's first year reps did in this role, and that was an additional $24,000 on top of the base pay. So roughly like an extra $6,000 every 3 months. Again, that could vary a little bit depending on how you're doing. But total cash for your first year in this role should be somewhere between about $79,000 up to $105,000. It really just depends on where you're at and how you're doing. On top of that, when it comes to benefits, our medical benefits are through Blue Cross Blue Shield. We have full dental, vision, and medical. And then PTO, 19 paid days off in your first year with 10 company-wide holidays. We have 401k with matching, and then there's also a whole list of voluntary insurance options that we have. So moving forward from here, you should have received an email from us with the link to what's called a HireView. So for those of you who haven't heard of HireView, it's kind of like you're doing a virtual interview, except it's one way, and it takes a recording of you answering each question. So there's 5 questions you'll answer. How it works is the question pops up on the screen and it gives you 30 seconds to read it and think of your answer. When that time's up, the recording starts and it gives you up to 3 minutes to answer each question. You by no means have to use the full 3 minutes. If you could answer the question in like 45 seconds, that's totally fine. But it is one take for each question. So take this seriously, prepare for it how you would a normal interview. And then a couple pieces of advice I'll give you. First is to take the practice question, especially if you haven't done a hire review before. Really just helps you get comfortable with the format, make sure your sound's good, your lighting's good, all that fun stuff. And then also really just do your best to pretend like you're talking to a real person. Again, these could be a little bit weird. You're going to be staring at yourself in a computer talking. So let your personality shine through, be personal, be confident, you should be fine. The questions themselves aren't too complicated. One other thing I'll mention about the hire review, just because I know there's some reviews floating around there online. Promise you guys that it's not AI reviewing your hire reviews. We actually have multiple people on the talent team watching each and every hire review. But the sooner you can get these in, the better. Typically takes our team between 2 to 4 business days to evaluate these and get back to you. After the hire review, assuming things go well, you move to a brief screening call. We'll just confirm your location preferences. And that's really something that's important to us. We want to put you in an office that you actually want to be at. So assuming we have an opening in the office you applied to, we'll get you in for a final interview. So it's a pretty quick process. It's really just hire review, screening call, and then a final. But I appreciate everyone taking the time to watch this video today. Hopefully we answered all your questions, but if we haven't, feel free to just shoot an email over to careers@keyence.com and we'll get those questions answered for you as soon as we can.